G'day everyone. The other day, a friend of mine was working with Revit file and he wanted to split it into two. And one of the problems he had was that when he split it, he wanted to delete some sheets and their associated revisions. Now, there wasn't an easy way, since he did revisions by sheet, there wasn't an easy way for him to identify which revisions were in use or not, and they're not affected by the purge unused command. So he wanted a way to purge the unused revisions from the project. So I wrote a little API and I'm going to show you how that works today. Okay, so let's start a new project. I'm going to do Revit 2018 and I'm going to call it crisp.revit.revision purger. Good. Didn't like that. Okay, let's put it into my docs. Okay, now we're good to go. Okay, we don't need the app, it's just going to be a simple command, so let's delete that and update our add-in manifest because we don't want the application. Save that. Okay, let's have a look what we've got. Let's delete everything and we'll start from scratch. We'll keep the command. Okay, so I like to sort of write out what we're going to do in comments. So we want to get all the revisions that are on sheets and compare that to all the revisions in the project and remove the ones from the project that aren't on the sheets. So how are we going to do that? First we're going to get all the sheets in the project. And for all of those sheets, we're going to get all the revisions on those sheets. Then we're going to get all the revisions in the project. And for all the revisions in the project, delete them if they are not on the sheets. I think that makes sense. Put this onto another line. Actually, I might just zoom in just to make sure you can read. And then, oops, to me. Then we're going to tell the user which revisions were deleted and tell Revit we succeeded. Good. All right. So how do we get all the sheets in the project? Well, we're going to use what they call a filtered element collector. In the collector called collector. And what does this constructor need? It needs a reference to the current document. Yeah, so let's get that. The document equal to command data dot application current UI document. Okay, so that's just a pretty convoluted way, but command data is the information that Revit gives us when we start this execute command. We grab the application from that, the active UI document, and the underlying document from that UI document. And that's what we need to pass to the filtered element collector. Although, yeah, I'll just leave that, that's fine. Now, we're going to get all of the revision, all the sheets. So the collector, we want to get everything of the category, built-in category sheets, which is that one. And we're also going to have, we don't want the type, so we're just going to get where the elements are not an element type. Good. And then so that's all the sheets. And then we want to get all the revisions in the project. So we're going to store those in a list of, we'll just grab their IDs. Don't need the full revision element, just the ID. And we'll call it sheet revision IDs. And we'll just start a new list, new blank list. Now we're going to loop through all the sheets, sorry, not elements. In the collector to elements. So it just means that we're using the collector object and basically getting all the elements that are inside the collector. Makes sense. Alright, so that's for each sheet. And just let me think. Okay. So now we want to get, that's all the we're looping through the sheet. So for each sheet, we want to get all the revisions. Revisions for project. Oh, I think we put this in the wrong spot. That should be sheet. Wait, what have I done here? Let's rearrange this. I've put some things in the wrong spot. That should be down there. Get all revisions in the sheet should be here. And that should be there. Alright, so that's good. Okay, then for each what? We want to get the revision ID. So element ID in the sheet get, all revision IDs. And we're going to add that to our list that we set up. Sheet rev IDs dot add ID. But that's a bit messy because we're going to get lots of duplicates. So if we've got 10 sheets and 8 of them all have the same revision, we're going to get that same revision 8 times. So we only want to add the ID if it's not already in the list. So we're going to say if not sheet rev ID dot contains that ID, then we'll add it. Good. So now we have a list of all the revision IDs that are on sheets in the project. What have I done here? Get all revisions in the sheet, get all the revisions on the sheet. Why have I got that twice? Okay. No, so that should be in the project. Right. Get all revisions in the project. So we're going to reuse our collector objects and make a new filtered element collector with the document. And this time, same thing of category, but this time we want revisions. Good, easy. And then for all revisions in the project, for each revision, rev in the corrector to elements. You want to check if this ID is in the list of sheet revision IDs. So if rev ID, sorry, no, if sheet rev IDs dot contains rev ID what? Actually, it should be not. If it's not included, we want to delete it. But it's not a good idea to delete an object that's in a collection while you're going through the collection. Actually, it's probably will probably cause a crash. So instead, we want to flag it for deletion. Flag it for deletion. So to do that, we'll need another list. Element IDs, and this will be IDs to delete. Go to a new list. And we say IDs to delete, add rev ID. Easy. Flag collection. Now we're going to delete. Because deleting is modifying the database, we need to wrap this in a transaction. So we're going to do the using statement. Transaction T equals new transaction in this document. We're going to go T begin or start. T start, and our transaction name is going to be purge unused revisions. And we're going to delete, but we're going to, it might cause an error, so we're going to wrap it in a try catch. Try catch exception. And if there is some kind of error, what do we want to happen in Revit? We want to show the error dialog and have a message that means something. So this is part of the, let's just look back up here. This string here, the message which is passed by reference, is the message that we can pass back to Revit if there's some kind of problem. So we're going to update this string and say an error occurred when deleting the revisions. And we might as well use the exception object, so we'll just add that on a new line. That would mostly be for us for debugging purposes. And then instead of throwing an exception, we're going to return a result of failed and tell Revit that something went wrong, and that'll prompt Revit to show the error dialog. Okay, so now we're going to go document, delete, IDs to delete. Simple. And we have to commit the transaction, otherwise it won't get done. And that's basically it. You have to do something to tell the users what we deleted, so we'll have to go back and keep track of that, and we have to tell Revit that we were successful. So return succeeded. Good. Transition, that's good. Okay, so how are we going to tell the users what was deleted. Probably the easiest way is to just create a string and add the revision information, sorry, here, as we add it to the IDs to delete, we'll also add to the string the information that we want. So let's do that now. Create a new string, and what will we call this? Deleted revision list. Starts off as an empty string. And then we just add to it. Del rev list plus equals the rev sequence number. Rev revision date. Makes sense. And maybe the description. Rev dot description. And then we'll put a new line, so each new revision that's deleted is on a new line. It's fine. And then, so we're going to display that. We want to do a new task dialog. td new task dialog. Let's call this purge revisions. The main instruction is the big text. I'm just going to say the following revisions were no longer in use and have been deleted. And the main content is just equal to our list of deleted revisions. And then we have to show it. Let's show. And that should be it. So let's just review what we've done. We've grabbed a reference to the current document, created a new filtered element collector, set that collector to be of category sheets and where the elements are not the element types, created a list of element IDs and filled that with all the revisions that appear on the sheets. Then we've reused the collector to make a new one based on revisions, and which grabbed all the revisions in the project. Then we looked through all the revisions in the project, and if that ID was not in the sheets ID that we stored up here, then we flagged that ID for deletion by adding it to a list. And then we started a transaction and deleted those IDs. And then finally told the user what we did. So hopefully that's it. And let's have a look. Hopefully no errors. We're going to build and everything will run smoothly. Let's have a look. Okay, just had a small issue there with licensing. I'm not in my usual environment, so I don't have access to our license server. So instead I've just added this command line argument /viewer to the debug tab of the project properties. And that'll start Revit in viewer mode, so it won't need a license. Obviously I won't be able to save anything, but it'll be enough for our purposes for testing. So let's have a look. Hopefully it's copied the files, yeah. This is our add-in we're working on now, so yes, we want to load it. Yes, we're in viewer mode, fine. Let's start blank project. care about the views. Hopefully it's big enough for you to see, but there's just one sheet there. I'm going to create a second sheet, just a blank sheet. And we're going to want to add some revisions. So let's go manage, additional settings, sheet issues revisions. Currently there's one. We're going to change this to per sheet. That's the way I usually do it. And we might make that alphanumeric. Okay. And that's fine. Date 1, revision 1, that's fine. So let's add a few more. Okay, so now we have 7 revisions. None are being used. So let's add a couple revisions. So on sheet 2, A102, going to add a new revision cloud. We're going to use sequence 2, revision 2. Okay, good. So you can see now in the revision column, you've got revision 2, which is A on this sheet. And if we do the same thing here, we might add a cloud, annotate, vision cloud. Let's do sequence 1 on this one. So vision 1 is A on this one, and if we go into the sheet, revisions on sheet, we can add 2 on this one as well, and maybe 5. So far we're using 1, 2, and 5. So we've got A, B, C, and then on sheet 2, we might want to add 6. So we should be using vision 1, 2, 5, and 6. Is that right? 2 and 6. 1, 2, and 5. So 1, 2, 5, and 6. So that means after we run our little commands, we would expect 3, 4, and 7 to be deleted. So let's have a look. Here's our command. 3, 4, and 7 are deleted. Let's make sure. Gone. So we were successful. Our app worked. It's pretty simple. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one.